when I got to high school, I was around nothing but white kids. And when I got to college, I was very much to myself. So I was not exposed to those culture things. But things have changed. I've grown.
Clearly.
Growth is good. You ready to get to this topic of the day?
Yeah, because you're always going on a tangent.
So today's topic is about photographers, avoiding toxic photographers. And that came about because it's amazing how you run across photographers and it's not even photography. It's people. You come across people and they're just toxic and you don't realize it till it's too late. And so I think about the photographers I know who, damn, how deep we want to do it? For real? Might as well.
There was ass and stuff.
True. There was a photographer who I was cool with at one point in time, and I just felt like stuff was weird, right? It was like this. All right, so every photographer that you deal with in the photography world, there is an underlying part of competition.
Of course.
Sometimes that competition is because people feel like you're still in my business. And I feel threatened. A competition is not a bad thing. It's the part of when competition gets to I feel threatened by you that you hate starts to sink in, right? And so when I'm looking at this photographer who was cool to me, as I thought, bruh was very, he was just hating. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed some things of gossiping. Every time I would reach out to him and there was nothing but gossip. Every time I would, we would hang out. It was nothing but gossip. We would go on shoots. We did, I can't say what we did because people know, but there's a video recording. Gossip the whole time. And I was like, all right, cool, bet. I see where this is going. But I was just cool with it. Then other people in my life, my wife, people was like, yo, I see some things online. This for you? And I'm like, oh, I didn't even see that. I was noticing that. And then I'm thinking about, that was one thing, right? And then I started noticing, I'm like, I'm not growing. Every time I had an idea of something I wanted to do, this photographer was saying, nah, don't do that. And it was weird, right? And then what I started noticing was that photographer was like, you can't grow. He's hindering me from growing. And one thing, speaking of another photographer who is toxic, by the way, me and bruh was cool. We met up. We said we wanted to chop it up. I invited him on this podcast, blah, blah, blah. He was supposed to come on. And slowly but surely, we get to a point, and guess what happens? Models start coming to me, showing me screenshots of what he was saying. And I was like, damn. And at first, the first model was like, oh, I think he just likes your work. I was like, cool. Then another model was like, yo, stay away. Then another model, stay away. Then another, and models are, it's a double-edged sword because models will give you some information and you don't know if they're doing it for themselves or if they're doing it for you. Because sometimes model will put photographers against each other so they can get free work, right? Like, okay, cool. He don't like you. So let me say this to you so I can get some free work so you can piss him off. And then, I started noticing that. And then, so I kind of want to dive into this whole thing of, it's photographers out there you got to be careful of because they are toxic. How do you feel like you deal with toxic people just in general? Let's hear it.
I don't really know. Like, I don't think or feel like I have toxic people around, so I'm not really sure, and I don't know if I've had them previously. I feel like if anybody was toxic, they kind of got themselves removed on their own or like removed themselves. I don't think I've really done anything like myself.
What my thing is, so you just so good you ain't never had toxic people in your life?
Well, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I don't.
Okay, I'm playing.
I don't know, unless it was like a guy. And it's like
niggas be toxic.
Bye. If it was a guy, okay, we could go down that route. Like,
Yeah, just general people,
Yeah,
not
like-
business. But I'm just talking about like we've all. I feel like most of us have dealt with old friends, or even old family members. Like family members can be toxic. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And I guess for me, what I started doing was photographers. I pay attention to them, and so I can grow, so I can become somebody better. I just remove myself from certain things, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'm good on that. Like, let me give bruh some space. Let me give shorty some space. Like,
Yeah.
I was in a photo group and I was sharing something about a sexual predator. All right, let's do it like this. You remember my last post? We talked about in the last episode about the photographer who was the contract. I posted that in a group with countless other photographers in there, and one of the photographers, she said, "Oh, I can't believe," and she said some dude's name would do that, and I'm like, "Yo," and everybody was like, "Sis, how you know it was him? That's crazy." They was giving her like applause for being the FBI and shit, and then next thing you know, I turn around, I'm like, "Yo, this photographer's in Australia. I don't know this person. I pulled this off of Twitter. I thought it was interesting because the model was talking about it.
Oh, look, she done exposed somebody else.
No, she saw him comment and was like, "Oh, it's him," because he commented first. That was her reasoning. And I was like, that's dangerous. Now that has something totally different to do with this. But going back to
That sound like the white girl yelling rape for the black guy and then getting him in jail.
Well, we are. Yeah, that's a whole nother subject, Key. But
I'm
yeah,
just
absolutely.
saying.
Like, I mean, I guess for me, even with certain family members, I notice when they come around, it's always something negative. And sometimes you gotta say like, "Yo, what are we doing at this point? Like, what are we doing? We growing or we not growing? Like, what's up?" So that's why I was just saying, like, I guess for me, my biggest thing is always, if you want to grow, you do have to separate yourself from people that is just simply toxic.
So when it comes to toxic people, is it you have to have a certain level of you have to care at a certain level to try to change it, or you just be like, fuck it, that's them, I need to do this and go about my way?
Absolutely.
Because like, what if it's your family? You be like, this person has the potential, or maybe you just feel it because you really don't know, only they know. So it's like, do I tell them that this is something that's not good and they can work on it, or do I just be like, that's just how they are, I'm gonna just let them be?
That's a good point. I mean, I guess for me, I look at it and say, like you said something super important. How serious do you really care? And in I think in everything in life, you got to ask yourself like, yo, what do I care about? Like, what's super important? Is it my goals? Is it my purpose? Is it my livelihood? Is it my children? Whatever the case may be. And sometimes you might look and say like, all right, if this person is causing me issues, if they're holding me back, they're hindering me from accomplishing these amount of things. All right, I got a jet.
Yeah, that's true. Because then it could stop you from like for example, I'm gonna just use myself for example. Okay, say when I get big with my business.
Absolutely.
Somebody is like just doing the most, like in a family, it's a family member. I can see myself being like, you know what? I don't have time to try to work this out with you. You can go work this out on your own, but I have to move forward with this. Like, because now you're stopping me from fulfilling my purpose, from
Absolutely.
you messing with my finances, like
Absolutely.
whatever the case may be, whatever it is they're doing, like you are hindering me and I don't got time. I gotta go.
Absolutely.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. So I want everybody to keep that in mind. To the photographer who's in that group, if you ever hear this, no big deal.
Sis.
Yeah, it was a mess, bro. I felt bad because I felt like and separately, that's how rumors start. You ever heard a rumor about yourself that you actually was like, damn, I could believe
No.
that even though it's fake? Really?
I don't really put myself in a position for like people to like say like I'm really to myself, or
Yeah, like these niggas don't need a reason.
or like even guys that I've talked to, like if I'm talking to a guy, it's not gonna be, like people be like, I don't have a type, or I do have a type. I don't have a type, but I feel like I have talked to the same type of guy when it comes to their persona. Like they real chill, they back, they not in the
Streets.
social life, they not in the streets. Like they just that like.
You remember
I
that
don't
girl wrote on Facebook that she got a new man and she the girl, I can't say her name. It rhymes with Bessica.
I'm about to punch you.
When Shorty wrote on Facebook, she was like, "Oh yeah, I want a guy who's gonna respect me and not pressure me for my virginity." Did you ever see that?
I didn't see that.
Jamar did. I sent it to Jamar, and Jamar goes, "Didn't you tell her that you like y'all good on that?" I'm like, "Absolutely." I was like, "Bro, that's not why I stopped talking to her. Stopped talking to her because we was driving in the car. She was rubbing on my head while we was driving to church."
That wasn't the reason why you stopped talking to her.
Yeah, she talked too much, and she told her mama all our business. Yo, for all the ladies out there,
all you ladies pop yo like this.
Hey.
Don't stop, don't get do it.
That's my
Do
shit.
it.